What's going on, guys? Run it back with another replay for you. We've got Maniac on the Dawi here, and Pep is on the High Elves. They're going to be squaring off here. We've got Tyrion on horseback, ready to duel and kill some Dawi characters. Definitely going to be up for the task. He's one of the best duelists in the game. He can certainly put a beating on Felix at the very least. Dragon Slayer and the Demon Slayer, a little scarier, but regardless, there's some chops to bringing him in this matchup for sure. He can do some really good work. Sunfang also isn't terrible against Slayers. But just to kick it off here, we've got some Rangers moving up onto the center objective, taking damage from the Goblobber here. You know, see these goblins flying in on top of those rocks. You know, not having much of a choice in the matter. You know, these Dawi are pretty insistent that they make themselves useful. Hero Squad is going to be screaming on up to the number 3 objective here, doing what they can to outcap the Silver Helms that are on this point as well, while the majority of the Dawi force, a huge box here, just goes right up. Gonna try and hold the number 2 objective, and then use the Thunderers, I would imagine, to try and control either the 1 or the 3 whenever possible. Fireborn taking the number 1, more Rangers. Triple White Lions of Trace here with Towns of Torquilida and a regular light armor archer. Not going to have tremendous targets. The Thunderers do have shields that do protect them from missile fire as well as really high armor, so they're going to be pretty difficult to chip through over the course of this game. Can be done though. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Oh, big damage coming in from the Goblobber on these Silver Helms, actually. Taking out a few models, and now the Demon Slayer and the Dragon Slayer here, too. And this is a terrible position for these very expensive cavalry to be in. Maniac taking a pretty commanding value lead in the opening here. We've got Rangers being absolutely obliterated by the Thunderers on the middle objective here, just getting shot to pieces very unceremoniously. Very unfortunate for those guys. Silverhelm's continuing to take fire on the way in, trying to get back here on the Goblobber, but their leadership does break because of the Discourage effect that the Goblobber has access to on it. Stacked with just a quick note. I'm sure a lot of experienced players know this, but as you can see, damaged by artillery and Discouraged, so technically, artillery already has a leadership discouraging effect, but these guys get an additional 16 on top of that, minus 26 leadership. It's pretty insane. It's really nice, honestly. Fireborn screening around on the outside of the formation here, looking to get after the Goblobber, which is very undefended right now. Maniac does have about 1,000 gold to work with. Could definitely start summoning something out here. Not going for it, though, which is a big mistake. We've actually got the Silver Helms rallying back here now. And the Goblobber just getting what value it can here, but losing this is going to be incredibly painful. We'll see what happens. Is there any summons coming in? No, Maniac not summoning. So the Goblobber is going down pretty much for free here. I would love to see... Oh, here we go. Okay, so a cannon pops out here of the Vanguard. I gotta get something on this, though, to protect it, or it's gonna get scary really fast. I mean, the Fireborn and the Silver Helms here could definitely jump on it, but some Longbeards do come out. They're gonna hopefully form a bit of a line here. It looks like they kind of are. Definitely going to help protect this cannon crew, which is very necessary because the Fireborn are going to get really rowdy on the battlefield without something to control them. Here in the middle fight, been looking elsewhere on the battlefield for the early engagements, but the middle is having a bit of a showdown here. We've got some White Lions fighting against some Dawi Warriors and the Hero Squad here. Maniac doing a very good job of keeping these guys all together. Felix is a little isolated out here on the edge, though. He's taken a bit of a beating from the White Lions. They are very capable duelists in terms of an infantry unit. They just have really high stats. 3840 is no joke. Thunderers, man, getting some good work in there. Gonna eat a Sunfang here. We'll see this go off. Not going to do a terrible amount of damage to them. They are pretty heavily armored, as well as having the spell resistance. And the White Lion Corps is getting pummeled right now. We've got one unit over here in a really nice fight. And the other two have been not doing so hot. They've gotten a little bit of value, but this one here, 59 models left. Maybe some healing could get these guys back up to fighting strength, but no magic on the field for the High Elves right now. Definitely a huge mistake. High Elves are always a faction that needs their casters out and available. It's a huge X factor for them. I do like the use out of the Fireborn, though. They're getting very aggressive back here, running down these Thunderers. There's really not too much to threaten them. They're actually screened by the trees pretty effectively here. Cannon's not even focusing on them. Actually going after the Illyrian Reavers on the number 3 here. It is controlled by the Dawi for now, but about to be flipped, and it is controlled by the Elves here now. We've got Fireborn. They have cleaned up this Thunderer. It looks like the other Thunderers have been getting beaten down. Not 100% sure by what. Tyrion is back here, definitely putting in work on one of them. These guys back here, have the Talons of Torquilita really done that much damage, man? Very impressive stuff from them, then. A little surprised to see them performing so admirably against that Thunderer line, but maybe that's worth remembering in the future. Both archers have paid for themselves, for sure. Dragon Princes still fighting here, and their AP is really getting in there and hammering these guys. So Thunderers are all taken offline, basically. We've got one Shattered unit here, one that's completely gone. We've got 19 Thunderers here. They could rally, put a little more work in, but it's evened up quite a bit. And Pepinable was definitely down in the early game there. Oh, and another collapse on artillery for free. Oh, no. Using the very last of these Silver Helms and the Illyrian Reavers to jump on top of this cannon crew, and Maniac definitely going to regret this later in the game, I would guess. Losing the Goblobber and the cannons is going to leave you with a lack of battlefield control with all of your missiles offline. There are some gyrocopters out. This one's pretty much out of ammo. It has done really well for itself. It's shooting down Illyrian Reavers right now. Pretty much shot these Rangers to pieces. So we're going to see what happens with the Dawi front line, though, because it's at this stage of the game, typically, that Dawi can start to struggle if they don't have a ranged corps to fall back on and be able to help control the flow of the battle. Their front line can get very overwhelmed just by weight of numbers and AP infantry, and the High Elves do have really good AP infantry. White Lions of Trace, like I said, are an incredible unit, honestly. Very cost-effective. Huge come-up from the Warhammer 2 days where they were honestly pretty terrible, but they're putting in some serious work against these Dawi warriors. There's some Sisters of Avalorn back here, too. Worth noting, they've got some really good value. Up to 800 already. Tyrannok Chariots on the field, too, man. These are some wild picks from the High Elves, but they're certainly paying off right now. The Tyrannok Chariot's probably here to go through Slayers, and I really honestly love that call-in. Slayers struggle pretty badly against Chariots of any kind just because they have no armor and they just get flattened. They don't have great mass, unfortunately, so they tend to get run over pretty quickly. But these Tyrannok Chariots don't want to be fighting here in this pit fight. There's a Demon Slayer and a Dragon Slayer here. Where is Felix? Is Felix okay? Felix looking like he might have gotten sniped out. That's probably what the Sisters of Avalorn have done to get their value. Oh, no, here he is. He's down here on the pit fight. He's pretty beat up now. Looks like the High Elves have been focusing him a little bit. He probably did get hit by a Sisters of Avalorn volley if he's that low. Grinding into White Lions is certainly not doing him any favors, but I don't think that they've done all that work. Talons of Torquilita getting run over by the gyrocopters here, who are landing in melee combat and actually doing a little bit of damage to these High Elf archers. They don't have very good armor values, only 40. Light armor, I think, is closer to 50, personally. Armor does get better exponentially. So, giving them an extra 10, I think, would be pretty nice, but I know High Elves aren't supposed to be the most heavily armored faction in the game on their ranged units. Sisters of Avalorn only have 40 armor as well, which is kind of shocking. You would think, looking at their models, they would be a little bit more heavily armored. I don't know why I thought that. They don't seem to be. I used to think they had like a chainmail shirt, but obviously not. Gyros taking a lot of fire, getting wrecked right now. Sisters of Avalorn making very good effective out of their missiles, doing amazing work here. And these White Lions have really ground down the Dawi forces here. There is not much of a force left. There are some Dawi warriors here who are being held up by the presence of their lords right now, which is good for the Dawi, but ultimately going to leave them a little lacking in the late game. Fireborn back here finally cleaned up, doing very well for themselves, not quite paying for themselves. Like I said, some heals would be really nice here for the High Elves. It would definitely be getting them a little bit higher up in value this game, and the tickets are so razor close right now. We've got Dawi holding the number 3, High Elves holding the number 2. This big blob here fighting off the point for so long that it's just, they've not done anything to cap that up. And the Dawi could have had a triple cap this entire time, so a bit of a mistake from Maniac here. Oh man, Rangers fighting into Slayers. Wow, oh wow, what a great trade for the Rangers, man. We've got the Towns of Torquilita and these archers with light armor fighting here too. These guys have a little bit of ammo. They could get out and focus fire a little bit of their ammo in here. Thunderers have moved up. They're looking to get some shots, but not finding many opportunities. The guys on the very edge of the formation here have some shots, but that's about it. Definitely need to reposition those guys. Probably could get after the Sisters of Avalorn here. They do a lot of work against these very expensive archers, and where are the Sisters even going? Looks like they're going after the Dawi warriors here, trying to kill some of the cap weight here. I'm not 100% sold on this. I think going after these Thunderers before they realize what's going on is the better play. But nevertheless, getting some good damage here on the Longbeards. Picking off a few models, getting some work done in that regard. With the central pillar blocking a little bit of the fire. So, not the best volley there in the second go-around, but they've got 5 shots left. They've got 5 good volleys, and they're very accurate. So if they go after some of these other targets, they could definitely melt them down pretty capably. Oh man, Swordmasters of Hoeth out here. I completely missed these guys coming out onto the field. Up to 1,800 value on these guys. Huge plays from Pep getting these guys into a really nice combat here. And they have ground down the hero squad. Oh my god. The Demon Slayer here on Death's Bed actually dies to fighting Tyrion. Felix hanging on for dear life, and the Dragon Slayer about to go down as well. The hero squad has paid for itself pretty admirably. Dragon Slayer doesn't have just the bare bones Dragon Slayer, so 600 gold, getting 1,400 pretty consistently. Great stuff, man. That Dragon Slayer is definitely one of the best hero options in the game, just because of how cheap he is and how much damage he can do. I do kind of like it being an option for the Dawi. They honestly do kind of need it. Especially if gyros are limited like they often are in tournaments. Dawi could use a little bit of a boost in other areas. This poor Dawi getting his arm ripped off by Tyrion there, you know. Tyrion, you know, lending a hand, haha, so to speak. In the middle here, making sure that the High Elves have a way back onto some of these objectives. It is getting close to triple cap territory for the High Elves here. Really nice Sunfang doing a little extra damage against the Thunderers, who have traded pretty efficiently, but the Illyrian Reavers get a nice rear charge. They're going to shut these guys down and kill them. Tyrion running away. He's got a little bit of room on his healing cap, but he's so low he probably won't even rally at this stage. Minus 32 leadership, and don't see it stabilizing anytime soon. Sisters of Avalorn with almost 1,900 value. Amazing stuff from them. But the #1 objective is flipping back to the Dawi, but they desperately do need it. They only have the one objective right now. It's looking pretty scary for them. They're not trading very well across the battlefield with their reinforcement summons. They're looking pretty thin in many areas. In the High Elves, They've got another Tyrannok Chariot out here. This is not the same one. The other one I saw while I was going and scrolling through the battlefield did get dealt with pretty handily. These guys struggling to find a good spot to get into combat. Rolling through some Dwarf Warriors, or actually these are Longbeards. I like the Longbeard inclusion. Longbeards are much more capable fighters than the Dawi Warriors. Not to say that Dawi Warriors are bad, they just don't have very good melee attack. You can see Longbeards just getting pretty stock boosts across the board. You know, more armor, better leadership, a little less speed, but better melee attack and melee defense and weapon strength. Really nice stuff, and they're really not that much more expensive. I mean, they're about, what? Well, 225 gold is quite a bit, but having one or two in your army, I really don't mind. They're just so incredibly stalwart. They also have an encourage effect, so they boost leadership of Dawi warriors too. It's worth knowing. It's worth knowing for sure. Slayers in a bad fight. They're needed elsewhere, honestly. Not to say that they're going to do incredibly poorly here. They're definitely going to beat the Rangers down a good bit. The issue arises from the fact that they're not supporting this cannon, one. Two, they're trading downwards. Rangers are much cheaper than Slayers. Slayers are like 800, 900 gold. Slayers are 650. Not a very good value trade. And they could be back here protecting this cannon. Maniac has not been protecting the artillery very well, and Pep has been doing a great job of getting back here and getting on top of these cannon crews. Early game took out the Goblobber, and I would assume this is the same cannon, just summoned back in again. And these guys are probably going to be going down here unless the Gyros can quickly shoot off the Illyrian Reavers, because low armor on the cannon crew means that these guys are going to get down nice and quick here if they're not saved in time, which it doesn't appear like is going to happen, unfortunately. Slayers, just 15 models of these guys left. They're fighting White Lions, even worse than fighting Rangers because these guys have such good armor and just better stats, actually. Slayers have worse melee defense by a fair margin and a little bit less melee attack. Not by much, but just that little bit can make a difference, and weapon strength is all AP. Not that it matters on Slayers since they don't have any armor, but it is what it is. Poor Slayers not doing too hot. Cannon, if this cannon goes down, it's probably GG. It's already looking grim for the Dawi. They're really needing to capture an objective here, and they just quite can't get on one. We've got the gyrocopters coming back in and trading really well, and I can't help but feel that the cannons and the artillery summons have been pretty superfluous this battle, just because they have not really been utilized as fully as they otherwise could have been. They haven't been useless, but they certainly haven't paid for themselves the way that they could. The gyrocopters have been pretty incredible this game, doing an amazing amount of work. This is the reason why you often see them limited in tournaments. They are just so strong right now. I mean, they've come in twice now. That other one, as you saw, is getting taken down by the Frostheart Phoenix, but 2,700 value, and it's not even 1,000 gold, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you love to see it. That's its second summon as well, so I mean, paying for itself 3 times over just about. This one doing really nicely on its way to paying for itself again. Got plenty of room on the ammo too, and it's just going to keep chipping down these White Lions, but I do believe this is going to be the end for the Dawi. They're play for the middle objective, just not quite able to get it done. The Dawi Warriors here intercepted by the Frostheart Phoenix. Great play by Pep. Using the SE to lock these guys down, slowing them down a tremendous amount. I mean, Frostbite and Blizzard Aura slowing them down pretty severely. Attune to Magic is available, since I assume just the High Elves Magic, since it never came out, is probably just fully capped at this point. Pep doing a really good job of playing this match without any mages.
There is only defeat.
Can't help but feel like a life caster, or honestly just like a shadow caster or something. I mean, the thing is that the High Elves just have access to basically every lore of Magic. You do kind of get your pick, and there's a lot of lores that are useful against Dawi, but, you know, it's a bit of a flex to come in here with a no-mage High Elf build and beat the Dawi at their own game, really. Pep doing a really good job of pressuring those back lines and not giving the Dawi any room to support that initial infantry push, which did do pretty well, and those Thunderers were doing some good work in the early game, but once the cannons got shut down and the Illyrian Reavers and, man, the Fireborn, they didn't pay for themselves, but the work they did was indispensable. They took down the Goblobber, they took down a cannon, they helped mop up a bunch of Thunderers. What more can you ask for from those guys, honestly? Doing exactly what they needed in the moment. And then the Dawi Infantry Corps and Character Squad kind of got ground into the dirt. You can see here paying for themselves, for sure, but really not going above and beyond, which was very needed to make up for the loss of the artillery crews. But yeah, I think I'm going to call this one here, guys. That was an incredibly close game. High Elves making just enough plays to get the dub there. You really love to see it. Great value on these Swordmasters of Hoeth. I love mixing in super elite infantry like this into my builds as well. I think there's a lot of room for them to perform admirably, especially against Dawi, obviously. So if you can just keep the gyrocopters off of them, you can see just how much work they can get done. As well as the Sisters of Avalorn. You don't see them too terribly often. Certainly not against Dawi when there are Rangers and Quarrelers aplenty, but they were a good pick against the Thunderers that were coming out there. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch y'all around next time. Take care. Peace.